Welcome back. Now in this lesson, we'll be looking at two common caching strategies, which is the cache aside strategy and the read-through strategy. Caching is a technique that is used to speed up the data retrieval by storing frequently accessed data in a fast access cache, rather than repeatedly querying a slower database. So first, let us take a look at the cache aside strategy. So how does it work? When the data is requested, the server would first check in the cache to see if the data is already available. If the data is not found, aka a cache miss, then the server would retrieve this data from the database and then it would store in the cache so that it will be available for any other future requests. Let us take a look at the diagram to understand this better. User 4 makes a request. When the request comes to the server, the first thing that the server does is check if user 4's data is already in the cache. This is the step 1 that is highlighted in the diagram. Now since user 4's data is not present in the cache, that is, it is a cache miss. Now in this case, the server would fetch this data from the database that is highlighted in the step 2. Now after getting the data from the database, the server would then update the cache to include the user 4's data in the cache. This is because next time there is a request for user 4, we can just quickly retrieve it from the cache without going to the database. Now let's move to the read-through strategy. Now in the read-through strategy, the cache itself would be responsible for fetching the data if it's not already present. So when the server requests the data, the cache will first check if the data is available. If not, the cache itself would fetch that data from the database and save it in the cache for future requests. Now you can take a look at the diagram to understand this better. A request comes from user 4. The request comes to the server, which would first check the data in the cache for user 4's data. Now if user 4's data is not found in the cache, which is the case here, instead of the server fetching the data from the database, this time the cache would fetch the data from the database. After fetching the data, the cache would then update itself with this data for all the future requests, so that next time there is a request for user 4's data, it will be found in the cache. This strategy is called as a read-through strategy because effectively the server is reading the data from the database with the help of a cache, or it is reading through the cache. So it simplifies the logic at the server side, as the cache itself would be handling all the interactions with the database. In both of these strategies, the goal is to minimize expensive database reads by using the cache for frequently requested data.